do you think your line handled, just the constant flux, but especially just, Percy coming back in a little bit and Kendall Stanley on the line?
Yeah, so obviously you guys saw we're starting to work Jeff Percy back into the rotation now. We'll see how much he can handle. We wanted to take a little bit off him. We didn't want him to really play a full game on Saturday. Obviously he's, been out for some time, and you don't want to just throw him out there and have him try to take every snap when he hasn't played football in a long time. So we're going to start rotating him in a little bit, and he'll start getting a lot more reps. Obviously we're counting on him to be a big part of, what we're doing at that left tackle spot, and then we see what happens with Kendall, whether we move him inside or continue to play him at tackle. The week will tell how we handle that.
How do you pace out the snaps that Jeff's in? Do you want them all in a row, or do you want them to come now?
We kind of like him to take a drive, right, and then take 2 off, get another drive, take a couple off, get another drive, and then maybe ramp it up towards the once you get into like a 2-minute situation, really kind of test him a little bit more, which we did at the end of the half there, at the end of the first half. I left him out there for 2 minutes so that we could really test that knee and see how he's doing.
You obviously knew going into that game you're going to be facing a vaunted Notre Dame defensive front, but once the game started to get going, what were some of the challenges you were seeing for your offensive line?
Yeah, obviously they're a very talented defense. We knew they were a top 12 defense against the run. As far as challenges go, it kind of goes back to where we were at Syracuse too. Is we just didn't perform on first and second down, right? I think we had 20 third downs and 19 of them were 3rd and 5 or more, right? And that's a challenging situation to be in, both as a player and a play caller. For Coach Cade, to be in those situations. And but when those, when it is 3rd and long, when it is 3rd and medium, we got to perform a little bit better than we have been.
You looked at pass protection. Many of the issues was it just guys not winning their one-on-ones? Was it communication? How did you guys see it?
Yeah, so they had a pretty nice 3rd down package, and we knew that they had a good 3rd down package. Going into it, they did a great job of making us hot, and about 3 or 4 or 5 times where we're throwing off of an extra rusher right there. And then they did a lot of twisting up front and moving around up front. We got to do a little bit better job up front of staying square and being able to pass these twist games off, which we've really haven't had an issue of until going into this game. So I think that speed of which they were doing them kind of was a little bit different for us. But that's something we're going to put a lot of emphasis into this week to try to get that part of it fixed.
How would you assess just the push you're getting up front as it pertains to the run game of late?
Well, as an offensive line coach, you always want more, right? You always want more push. You always want to cover guys up more. You want to get, get guys onto the edge more. You want to get it up the middle more. I think that's an area we can improve at a little bit, is playing with our hands a little bit better inside, playing a little bit more square in the run game as well as the pass game. But the bottom line is, we've got to perform better up front, and we got to give bigger holes for our running backs, and we got to give our quarterback more time.
What did you see from Montgomery to replace Credo?
He played 12 plays and had 4 pancakes. So he's playing physical level of ball. Now, again, that wasn't their first unit when he went out there. That was their backups. But it was nice to see him go out there and play physical and be able to at least get a few pancakes in there and show what he's got.
Right off the bat about Triptech's offense, but what have you noticed from them defensively?
Yeah, they're a penetrating defense. They're very similar to our defense. They're going to try to get upfield. They're going to try to create disruption. They've got a pretty good nose guard inside that plays really low, plays really powerful. They've got a good inside linebacker as well that we'll have to make sure that we account for and put a helmet on him so that he can't go out there and run free. But they're a talented bunch. I think we're a talented bunch too. We just got to show it a little bit more consistently. So I'm looking forward to that challenge.
These games when you've had a tough time on 3rd down, obviously, like you said, the first downs have put you in a difficult spot. But Syracuse or Notre Dame, are you finding your guys are being beat more physically in those situations, or is it, you talk about like the twists and the different things that they're showing you, like more mental breakdowns?
Yeah, I think there's things when you get into 3rd and long that defenses do a great job of creating one-on-one matchups, right? You're not going to get a slide side. You're not going to be able to have 3 guys working to 2. Everybody's got to win their one-on-one matchups. When you get into 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, we've got to be more consistent at winning those one-on-one matchups.
You guys, with the way you spread everything out, don't often keep tight ends in the block. Running backs obviously are big pass catchers in this offense. you can end up in 7-on-5, right, or 6-on-5 situations. Do you feel like that? I mean, how does that typically work out? You know what I mean? Or do you feel like maybe sometimes you need a little more help, with your 5 up front?
It's that we ask a lot of our offensive linemen in this program. Obviously they're going to be asked to 5-man protect, 6-man protect at times. There's going to be times when the quarterback's going to be hot, right? And we've got that built into our system where, he's got to get rid of the ball to a certain player that's doing a certain thing. When the whole thing is operating as it should, I think it's pretty. It looks good, right? But when we have those third down breakdowns, a guard gets beat, a tight end falls off a block, a running back doesn't pick up a read, a tackle oversets, whatever it may be, I think that's when it gets a little bit sloppy to look at. So, kind of what I was getting at before was, we just got to do a better job of, winning individually, right? And I've got to do a better job of getting our guys coached up to win individually, right? And that falls upon me as the offensive line coach to get that done.
This is just Sunday, Monday, watching the film. How did you feel like you guys did against Love specifically?
I think overall we did solid, but obviously not good enough. We allowed some big runs. They're a real good team, and they just came out swinging, and we didn't do enough to match them. So we just gotta fix that. Come out swinging harder next time.
You say fix that. What are some of the things that you feel like you're going to improve on this week?
I think the intensity and everything was there for us. We're always going to come out hard. We're always going to come out, fighting. That's never a question. I think we just need to fix the little details, like maybe, preventing some wash, at the front. That's what I can do. What I can do is make sure I don't get washed, at the 4-eye. I could we can all make sure that we're in the right proper gaps and stuff at every play. Not get too worried about making every play. Just focus on what everyone has to do individually. Focus on that a little more, and then I think we'll be good.
Francis said yesterday that you were someone that played really well on the defensive line. He called you out specifically. What do you think you did well in the game?
I think I think I played up to their, competition level. Everyone says Notre Dame this, Notre Dame that. They're a great team, They're a great team, but, I felt like we're a great D-line too. So I, just, had a chip on my shoulder, go and, prove everybody that, some say we're too small, we're too this, too that. So I was going to make sure in the run game that I was stout in the run game. I held my gap. I split the double teams. That's why I went in there with the chip on my shoulder to make sure I did. And I feel like I did a pretty decent job at accomplishing that goal. So.
It's going to be the key for you guys as a defensive line against a team like Georgia Tech that uses a lot of different formations and has a quarterback that runs, who's like the leading rusher.
We just got to play, sound defense, do our job, and play hard. We always play hard, but we just got to play sound. We got to, against a guy like this where he can run the ball, the running back can run the ball. They're all, good runners. They're really good at what they do. We just got to individually each do our job. If I got the A gap, I got to stay the A gap. If, Ghost got the C gap, he got to stay the C gap. We just got to individually, do our jobs to the best of our ability, which I believe we will do. And that's how we stop a team like Georgia Tech or stop any team, If we do what we're supposed to do, then we can stop anybody. That's what we will do.
Like without Sean Fitzsimmons in the mix?
It's tough because, Fitz is, that guy, great player, great teammate. It was really, we just all really felt bad for him because we knew how much this game meant for him. And him getting hurt, that kind of just motivated us all some more, to stick together, be tighter, be closer, and really go out there and give everything we got. Because we knew without Fitz, we really had to do everything we had to do. We had to play up, as much as we can to help replace him for that game. And you can never replace a guy like Fitz, because he's such a good player. But it was tough. I felt like we did a good job covering for him since he wasn't able to make that game. So.
You guys hadn't lost in a long time prior to Saturday.
Yeah.
You go on like a winning streak like that, and then you finally get a loss. Like, what are guys saying to each other? You know what I mean? How are you? Particularly after last year, you guys go on a big winning streak, and then you the losing kind of snowballs. What have been the vibes, the conversations this week to make that one loss just one loss?
It's just adversity, you know. Loss is adversity, and it's how we're gonna bounce back. That's what we're saying to each other. Like, we're gonna bounce back. We ain't letting that happen again. We ain't getting embarrassed again. We felt like we feel like any loss, because the defense, we take stuff personally. We're real close, we're real tight. We're real, aggressive. So we feel like us allowing them to run the ball on us as much as they did, we took that as an embarrassment. We're all real prideful, so we're bad. We're ready. We're ready to take it out on Georgia Tech. So that's what we're saying to each other. Like, just let's go. Let's make sure that don't happen ever again. We're just using that game to fuel us for the rest of the season.
With Fitz out, just see how to play a little bit more, play the most snaps of his career so far. But yesterday, our duty talked about there were some things he did wrong. Maybe how are you trying to help Jasir coach him up, fix some of those things in practice?
Jasir's a great player. I mean, we all help each other, really. When it comes to practice, your question, how do we help in practice? We all watch, because everybody, when we do like individual drills and stuff, everybody will go after like one at a time, and we'll all watch, and then we'll pull each other to the side, coach, fix the little things, because in our group, we're real competitive, but we're not. That doesn't split us apart. That actually brings us closer. So we're just trying to, if we see a little thing, like maybe he stepped too wide or something, we're going to be the first ones, jumping on him saying, all right, you got to fix this. You got to make that step smaller, because we just want, all of us to keep climbing, keep getting better and better. So, I don't really think what was it? You said, how will it change? Or what was the question?
Yeah, how are you just helping him?
Just helping them, just continue doing what we've been doing, just coaching each other up, staying real competitive, in that group, and that competitiveness is going to make us, get a lot better.
Isaiah, how are you splitting your time in practice these days? How much offensive talent versus defensive end are you day?
I would say as much as the team needs me to do, depending on the day. Like you all have seen in the last game, we didn't have Fitz, so I was doing a little bit more, helping out inside, just to keep our guys who are going out there initially, our starters at D-tackle, keep them a little more fresh going into the game. But all honesty, whatever they need me to do, whether it's 75, 25, 50, 50 at either position, I want to help the team win.
Details are always important. That's something you guys always emphasize. But when you have a quarterback who can run like this and design runs, now you have multiple guys out of the backfield who can run. Does that put even more importance on the details and the keys so you kind of get a feel for what they're doing?
100%. Just talking about the quarterback, he's just, along with being a great runner, he's a great leader. So he runs their offense figuratively as well as doing the running as a quarterback. But with that being said, like you said, details are huge. They're a big formation team. They do a lot of different things that it could distract the defense. But in order for us to be successful, and what we're planning on and doing in practice is just everybody just has to do their job. It's that simple. Football, sometimes people complicate it and make it such a big X, and you have to do your job at the end of the day. You have to go get the man across from you, and you have to be aggressive and physical. So with that being said, I just feel like that's our biggest thing, is just being aggressive, being physical while doing our job the right way.
Francis was saying that you guys are maybe taking it personally, just how Notre Dame was able to run the ball against you. Do you feel the same, just as far as kind of trying to channel that performance into doing a lot better against Georgia Tech? Yeah,
I feel like a loss like that, when they're able to run the ball, no matter the team, like as a defense, it's embarrassing. We have to clean it up. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what's going on in any other phase of the game. We as a defense have to do better at stopping the run. They were able to get too much on us. So, it does kind of give us a little bit more motivation, and it's a reminder of what can't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have still a lot in front of us. We have everything in front of us, everything that we've been breaking down on since January. is still in front of us. So with that being said, we're trying to go into this game with, we know what happened next game, but not it weighing on us to the point where it's that game affected 2 weeks. That game, it happened, it's over. It wasn't the cleanest game for us, but we know we have to go and go 1-0 this week against Georgia Tech.
Isaiah, how beneficial has it been to have Blaine Spires and Jaden Moore, while limited, back in the mix?
They're great athletes. They help us so much just being able to play. Like you said, I mean, they haven't been the most active, like, in terms of their rep count, but I feel like that's going to improve as we keep playing along the season, just getting them back acclimated to the play. But, I mean, it helps tremendously. Both of them are great athletes, and they're great teammates as well. So it's not just like they weren't here, so we kind of lost them. But now it's just like, all right, finally we get to have, like, we went and got these guys, you know what I'm saying? And now we get to see and they get to put on display what they can do and help us win.